It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. I am John Schmeelk, joined by the well-dressed Howard Cross in the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. Howard, I haven't done a show with you in it feels like forever, man. I got to do 5 minutes on the pregame show with every week, but that's kind of it. I'm pumped.
It's been a while, man. It's been a while. You've been, I don't know. I'm trying to get in here. I'm working on it.
It's true. Usually the problem when you come in, you work on Tuesday. Usually I'm the one that steps out. So you come in for me so we don't have a chance to work together. But now we can, which is great. I know last time you got a chance to work with Lance, so you're welcome for the upgrade. Happy to help. I had a chance to talk about this game, unfortunately, yesterday for an hour with the feds. So I'm going to give the floor to you. Give me your main takeaways. You kind of had a day to think about it a little bit. What were you thinking about, and what are your main takeaways walking away from this just catastrophically tough loss on Sunday?
Well, first things first, you have to be encouraged by the way the offense played and the way they were able to keep bouncing back and keep striking and keep scoring points. They scored 30 points again. Dart did a good job. He's out there without his top receiver. He's out there without, a few guys. His second receiver is down. So he made do with the guys he did. The tight ends came to play. They showed up. They had a couple drops early on, but made up for it with some big plays later in the game, which really helped out. Of course, the running game has been getting better and better. I like the way that they're running the ball. Kind of curious, though, why they haven't been running that outside run with the two tight ends to Thomas's side as much as they do it right. They kind of have a right-handedness about them when they run the ball.
Yeah, they ran a couple pitches to Scatterwoo, but you're right. I think they were to the opposite of the tight end side, right?
No,
now that you mention it,
so
interesting.
That's very interesting to me. But I don't call plays. I just was trying to figure that out.
You want to, but you don't.
Yeah, no way. I don't want anything to do with that. And then from a defensive standpoint, for 3 quarters, they look like the best defense in the league. They look phenomenal. Then, then all of a sudden, a Daybill goes down and Hollins go down, and it looks different. Not that their backups are that much worse or something like that, but it definitely was. You could tell it was a difference in the secondary. Guys getting open, and they were going at the guy that came in to replace him. So that kind of hurt a little bit, and I was hoping that they could figure out a way to step up, maybe do a little more press, give him a chance with somebody over the top. But it was very obvious. They said, okay, well, if he's out, let's go at the guy that replaced him, and that's what they did. And
I didn't sense, Howard, and you give me a better idea from the sideline. I rewatched the game on Monday morning again. I didn't think there was a huge shift after the lead in the type of plays they were calling and the type of defense they were running. I just thought, I thought, honestly, the guys on tape even looked like they were gassed a little bit.
Oh, they're gassed.
And I just thought the execution in that fourth quarter on an individual basis just was not great.
I mean, you're in Mile High Stadium. Like, if you got to get 3 and outs, you got to get quick stops, you got to be able to get plays done,
which they did early in the game.
Yeah, but when you miss one and a play extends, and I'm not talking about like a 30-yard bomb or a 40-yard bomb. I'm talking about like just a first down,
a couple of first downs, right?
2 more first downs,
right.
And all of a sudden you're looking to the sideline to see who's coming in to get you, and just to jog from the field to the sideline, you can see guys like gasping for air. I'm like, okay, I said they're getting tired. They've got to find a way to get one more stop, and then that's the big thing when you're in that situation. You have to be able to get that one stop to get yourself off the field so everybody can catch your breath again. But if you don't, it just piles up, and it just overwhelms you.
Yeah, it really does. I purposely did not go through a lot of the positives yesterday because I didn't think fans wanted to hear any positives yesterday. And understandably so. They're all very upset, and you guys can still be upset today. Give us a call. We're here for you.
Totally upset.
I get it. So a couple things about Dart's game. I did not think in the second half he was great. He made a couple big plays, but I thought not the best. But the things that really encouraged me about his game, and I don't think I brought this up on yesterday's show, I want to make sure I got it in today, was 3 big plays in the game. And I had to be reminded about the Tracy run. And the 2 deep passes to Bellinger. He had the 40-yarder for a touchdown and the 20-yarder on the sideline. On all 3 of those plays, Howard, Dart checks into that play pre-snap.
Yeah.
So he sees something From I think on the 2 pass plays to Bellinger, I think he caught the Broncos in cover 3 in both of those, and they kind of attacked that cover 3 corner on both those plays. And then Hufanga crashed down from his single high safety spot and allowed the tight end to get behind him. But that's, I think, really good to see out of a rookie quarterback, that he can diagnose pre-snap what the defense is showing. By the way, a Bronco defense that does disguise things. Vance Joseph does some funky stuff with his defenses.
They do a good job.
They do. So I just want to tip my cap to Dart for those 2 pre-snap decisions to get the Giants into good plays. That 2 of them turned the touchdowns, and the other one was another explosive.
Yeah, and the only thing I would say about Dart is that once he gets outside the pocket, he's got to be quicker with the decision. Like, okay, there's nothing here.
He had the 2 of the sacks he took.
Yeah.
He rolls to his right, and he's out of the pocket, Howard.
Yes.
It's an easy throwaway.
Yes.
Or there was even a check down to Theo Johnson on one of them that I think he could have thrown.
But I think the reason why I don't want him to get hurt, and I'm looking at him holding it and hoping, holding it and hoping, holding it and hoping. Correct. And somebody's going to run from the backside full speed, and it's going to be ugly.
It reminds me in the first half on the other side when Bo Nix rolled right, and I don't know if he didn't see Brian Burns.
He didn't see him,
and then Burns absolutely obliterates him on the play.
You got to be able. You got to be aware. I know that you don't, because they did disguise the defenses very well. They did do a good job of bringing a lot of different players, but you got to be aware of where these guys are. That's why the interception happened. He's out there. He's out there. He's out there. Just throw it away. That's all you got to do.
Or in that position, just take the sack.
Yeah, or, I hate to say it, run as far as you can and slide.
Or that.
There
that
it
works
is.
too.
But that's the only thing that's the only thing, and I know he's looking to make a play, and I know he wants to make a play, and I feel that youth and that energy. I got time. You don't have time. Like, when you're out there and you're outside of your tackle, you are out there by yourself. Be careful, kid. And that's the only thing that worries me.
No, I think that's fair. Anything else you want to touch on in the game before I get to the calls here, Howard?
I want to hear what these callers have to say. I've been ready for this. And I listened to it all day yesterday. I was at a charity event, and I was like, okay, yes, sir, absolutely.
I'm sure they were asking you questions
they
about
were
that.
asking me 1,000 questions.
And I'm sure you had all the answers.
0 answers. 0.
Well, let's see if we can do better today.
I'll try.
All right, let's go to Walter all the way out in Omaha, Nebraska. He's going to join us first on Big Blue Kickoff. Walter, what's up, man?
What's going on, John and Howard? Hey, listen, man. I just, the thing is, what's infuriating as a fan is just, to hear Dabo. And let me start by saying this. That after that first year, I was sold on Dabo, and even right now, in so many instances, I want it to be Dabo. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think, listen, a lot of, play calling offensively during that game. I understand it was a tough game, which I'm fine with the offensive play calling. I think from the coaching standpoint of Dabo, I think those delay games, and that moment, especially the last delay game, why isn't he right on the referee's hip, ready to call a timeout, seeing the play clock dwindle away, and he's not right there on the hip. That's my concern about yesterday. But when it's a loss like that, there's enough blame to go around everywhere. And the kicker situation, what are we? 3 years in a row, we've lost games to for the kicking thing. I don't know, whatever it was. I think after Wink left, I think I hate to use the word, but I think management neutered Dave's. Like, where was the aggressive Dave that was, chewing players out for not doing what he had coached them all week to do?
Whoa, Walter, hold on. Dable threw it on a 3rd and 5 when the non-aggressive thing would have been to just run the ball into the ground, and he put the ball in his rookie quarterback's hands and let him make a play. I mean, I think that's being pretty aggressive, no?
And he's definitely chewing players out.
Actually, Walter, stay with us. Howard is on the sideline for every game.
As I said.
No, Walter, real quick. Mr. Howard, one sec. Walter, one sec. Hey. Howard's on the sideline for every game.
He is.
So, Howard, tell us what is Dable like on the sideline during these games?
He's a maniac. He is definitely chewing players out. The networks are doing a good job of not showing him as much. because the last few years they were like right on his, because he's a new coach. They're showing all of his mannerisms and stuff. And they're not as showing him when he's really getting after guys as they did before. And I don't know.
But he is still getting after guys.
Oh my God, is he ever going to get after him? It's ugly. So, I feel
well,
bad.
Walter, there you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, like I said, again, like I said, from the offensive side, I have no issues about the play calling.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what
Yes.
I'm saying? Is but, you know, I've been listening to, you know, to the beat writers and everybody, and it's like, you know, everyone has blame in this. So the kicker situation, we could have had a more qualified kicker in here. It's been 2 weeks. There's been, what is it, three missed kicks in the last 2 weeks. So there's mismanagement, and more than that, I would say the mismanagement of the roster. We've got people that are holdovers because the organization does not want to let go certain players that were at a certain cachet for draft pick. Hyatt. We've got people are just sitting on the bench for nothing, getting game checks, getting all of these things for nothing.
No, but Walter, hold on. Walter, hold on 1 second. 2 weeks ago, Jalen Hyatt draws a defensive pass interference penalty in the end zone. That helps you win a football game. And this week in the fourth quarter, he runs by Patrick Surtain II, splits the deep safety, and is open on a deep post that could potentially won the game in regulation if Dart doesn't overthrow him.
So he's contributing. He's you know, been I guess forced into action, but he's definitely contributing. He's always wanted to be there, and he's trying to do it now.
Listen, fair enough, fellas. All I say is the production out of Hyatt for what is this? Is his third year now?
Yeah, third year.
Third year person on this franchise. Look at Wandell. Each year, Wandell gets so much slack about we could do better, and when everyone's always itching to replace Wandell steadily. Year after year, this kid is grinding, doing what he has to do, and only doing what the play call allows him to do. There's certain enough players that are hungry enough that deserve to be on this organization. Banks. Neil, all of these people, the organization is holding over, putting on us year after year after year, and expecting us. We're just giving. And granted, everyone deserves time, but we're holding on to these players, and they're holding spots, and they're doing nothing for us. We got a healthy scratch in Neil. We Banks and Flott is clearly since the spring has outplayed Banks. But to save face, they're gonna go ahead and push certain players on us and losing games. How many games did Banks cost us this year because they didn't want to go ahead and get off of Banks?
Yeah, but
okay.
In all fairness, let me ask you a question. So the roster gets set. The Banks is like your third corner. He's the guy that's going to be the backup to the two starting outside guys.
Frankly, really, if you want to count Drew Phillips ahead of him, he's really more like your fourth corner, right?
Phillips is a slot guy.
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
yes,
so Banks is your third. Banks is your third corner. That's your depth in your rotation. You release Banks. There's no other corner out there that's at that level. If he plays, he plays well. If he doesn't play well, then you're struggling. But that's why he's your third corner. He's not on the field with you the whole time. So who you're going to get? Like you need another player.
I mean, I can list the guys on the practice squad.
That's not for me to determine when they're putting together the roster each year in the off season. That's for them to get healthy enough competition in here to have depth at that room.
No, Walter, I can tell you who the guys are. Do you want to see Nick Jones out there as your third corner? Do you want to see Art Green out there as your third corner?
Don't do that.
No. Again, no. But my point is making is that you keep guys on the roster because they're very talented, and you think with coaching they can elevate their level of play. Nick Jones and Art Green are good football players. They're really helpful on special teams. But again, to Howard's point, I'm trying to back up what you're saying, Howard.
Yeah, I got you.
You have these guys that have a certain level of talent, and I'll throw Evan Neal into that conversation as well. There are only so many guys that are that big that can do the types of things that these players can do if they correct some of their technique issues, which are holding them back. So you want to keep the guys. They're only
all of these things.
No, but Walter, my point is
sorry,
that
John, go ahead.
no, you're fine. But I think the point we're trying to make, if they do what you're saying, and you decide to let go of Jalen Hyatt, let go of Evan Neal, let go of Deonte Banks, you're not finding another wide receiver that's running a 4-3. You're not finding a corner that has the size and speed combination of Banks.
If you're not catching the ball, you're not having no separation. You're not.
But there is separation.
You're not breaking off the routes. You're just straight line, and people onto you. Every time Hyatt's in there, they're like, oh, okay, it could be a deep shot. You see what I'm saying? And then it just onto him. And if he is not running screech free, he's. He has. I lie about that. He has caught some.
Caught some outs, caught some slants, caught some in routes. Yeah, he's caught a few other passes. It just.
Thank you, Walter. Appreciate the call, man. Good stuff.
I understand like the frustration of trying to replace players that that happen to get in the game, and they may not make the plays you want them to make, or somebody that you're seeing standing on the sideline. You're like, well, why is he standing on the sideline? He should be doing it. But rosters are constructed. You need extra bodies, and you can only have 53 men active at a time.
And again, I think Walter would have a better argument if those guys he's referencing, Howard, were playing full-time snaps, not producing, and somebody that you thought was better was sitting on the bench behind them. That's not what we're seeing here.
Or sitting outside, and you can say, okay, if we could get that guy, I can understand that, yes.
Correct, but that's not what we're seeing here. If anything, and look, we've seen this in prior regimes, where they force guys that aren't playing well into the lineup to play, even though they're not able to do it. I give them credit for having, maybe guts is the wrong word, but making the tough decision to make Evan Neal inactive. He was your first-round pick.
Yeah.
That is not an easy thing to do.
And to be fair to Neal as well, he played well in the preseason.
He did.
He played really well in the preseason at guard. So, it's just you got other guys at guard.
They played the guys that were better players.
They brought guys in to play guard. They're good at guard. And, even though he's playing better at guard, you got to get in line. You
got to play the guys that are giving you the best chance to win. And I think that's what the Giants, for the most part, have done here.
Absolutely.
From what I've been able to see.
From an offensive standpoint, definitely.
Yeah. No, Howard, I'm with you 100%. All right, let's go to Jason in New Haven. Jason, you're up next on Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Hi, how you guys doing?
What's up, man?
Good. Yeah, Sunday was tough, man. Instead of this week us celebrating, let's think about this for a minute. And I want to speak to my Giants fans.
Go ahead.
We have our QB1, which is half the battle when you're trying to turn your franchise from a laughingstock to a respectable and then on to playoff contender. So I want to leave it at that. That's my first point. But my frustration is instead of celebrating Dart going into Denver and for 3 quarters, not just him, the offensive line, Theo Johnson, even though his drops are starting to get me aggravated, but overall, he had that big touchdown. Bellinger, the offensive line, Tracy, Burns. Instead of celebrating those guys and celebrating the effort they put into really dominating the Broncos at home, when you really think about it as a rookie, instead of celebrating that, we're talking about the loss and the implosion. And I'm not looking for you guys to agree with what I'm saying. We all have our difference of opinions. But my aggravation is 2 things. I'm sure I don't know how to say his name, the kicker. I don't want to screw his name up.
Mikitani.
But yes. Here's my issue, right? Now, I'm not in practice. I'm not behind the scenes like you two are, of course, right? So I can only go off what you guys, not specifically you guys, but what the team says. Apparently he won the kicking job in practice. Okay.
And Jason, by the way, for the record, we don't see regular season practices either. So we're going off the same information you are once you get to the regular season.
Okay. All right, no problem. But from what my understanding is, and like I said, I'm not asking for you guys to agree or respond or whatever, but apparently he was the backup kicker in Rutgers who kicked 63% in college.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. He missed the extra point last week.
That's correct.
Came back this week and missed 2. While we have a veteran kicker, and I get it, he lost the.
Oh, did we lose you?
Well, at least he's at least in my opinion, he's done it on this level. And to me, to have a kicker cost us a game, and I don't want this young man. It's not just him. There's blame all around. But to miss 2 extra, points, man, that's as a fan, that's hard to stomach when other guys put their blood, sweat, and tears into putting us in a position to win the game. Second, then I'll get off the phone. I've been a big proponent of Dable. I actually like him as a coach. I like how he goes about his business. I like how he's developing Jackson. The team seems to really play for him. You don't really hear a lot of stories about any kind of anarchy in the locker room. You don't really hear that. So I'm rooting for him. But Sunday really, really questioned me, and I'll leave it at this. In basketball and football, most professional sports, especially those two, no lead is really safe. Even though we were up in that game, I never really felt comfortable, right? And to see, right, and the players didn't execute. I will say that. But, man, I just felt like that coaching style of just playing not to lose, 9 times out of 10 comes back to bite you.
No,
That's
but they
just how
didn't. No,
I
but
felt.
Jason, in all seriousness, how do you think they played that game not to lose?
All right, let me respond to that, and I'll come with this, right? That drive where Jackson threw that pick, right? So predictable, and I don't care what nobody tells me. That was such a predictable. You ran out of not even with a fullback in the backfield. You ran Mr. Scatterbo twice, right?
Yeah, you have to run the ball twice. No. It was first of all, it was 3rd and 5, so they got 2 yards and 3 yards on the 2 runs.
All right, okay, so I'm wrong on that. All right, 2 and 3 yards, great, right? Denver had how many timeouts?
They made them use 2 of their timeouts on those first 2 runs.
Okay, why on earth? And this is my opinion. Why? And I guess Jackson did play well, but in my opinion, you don't put your rookie quarterback in that spot. Yes, he threw that pick. It was a bad decision, no doubt about it. But why are we throwing on 3rd and 5 with Denver having 1 timeout? Where if you run the ball and punt, they have to drive the field.
No,
Not only do they have to score, but they have to get an onside kick.
Jason, that's a fine argument, and I understand where you're coming from with that. But that's not the point you made. You said they were playing not to lose, not to win. By throwing the ball there, you're trying to, if you complete that pass, game over. They have no chance of winning. The game is over. By throwing it there, you're actually calling plays to win the game. By running it,
you're being more aggressive to run the ball.
Yes.
I get that point. Yeah, you were aggressive at that moment. You know why? Because you had to be aggressive at that moment. My thing is, if you call the game like you did in the first half, yeah, there might be some mistakes, but I'm never a proponent of taking your foot off the gas. That's just what I saw in the game. I know you guys may not agree, and that's fine. Okay. Because I know I got to get off the air, but I just didn't like some of the play calling. I didn't like that pass on 3rd and 5 when Denver knows you have to throw the ball to get a first down. So you know what they do? Simulated pressure. Dart is still a rookie. And he fell for it. He threw it right into the linebacker. When, yes, that's his fault, but he should have never been in that position. You run the ball, make them burn that timeout, you punt. Now, if they score and they get the onside, you know what? You tip your hat. But I feel we gave them that game. So I'll take it off the air, fellas. Thank you.
No, Jason, look, if you think that's the more prudent strategy, I get the argument. I'm not going to – we talked about this a lot yesterday. That's fine. But they were aggressive. They were trying to win the game by completing the pass.
Yeah, but what he's saying, and this is what a lot of fans were saying to me yesterday, it's like if you run the ball, they call their timeout, you punt it down the field, then they have to drive the length of the field and get 2 scores.
Oh, and Howard, I think that's correct.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with that.
That's what they're saying.
But I feel like his initial point is contradicting his.
It is contradicting,
yes.
but you know, in the backlash would be like, you know, if they did score twice, then everybody's like, well, why didn't you just throw the ball on 3rd down? So it's like chicken or the egg in that situation. Like if a play works, you're a genius. If a play doesn't work, what were you doing? That's how it is every week.
By the way, one other thing I want to bring up that I don't think we talked enough about yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
How good was the Giants' offensive line in that game yesterday?
They
against
played
the
pretty
Broncos?
well. They played pretty well.
And they've been pretty good for 2-3 weeks. Since Andrew Thomas has been back full-time playing
Yes.
every snap,
Uh-huh.
they've been very good, Howard.
They've been very
Run
physical.
and pass game.
Yeah, been very physical. And their test is coming up this coming week, but they're very physical against a very good front and very confusing front at that, because you didn't know who was coming half the time. And that they did a good job of recognizing who was coming. They identified the guys really quickly.
There were no free runners.
No, one.
One free runner. Yeah, right.
Free runner.
You had the
Yes.
one free runner on the
Yes.
one play. That's right.
But outside of that, no, they did a really good job.
No, and I think you just, as much heat as that group has taken over the course of the last 10 years on this show, I feel like when they play really well and they have the last 3 weeks,
You got to acknowledge them.
I think
Yes,
you got to give them some
absolutely.
credit. You got to give the big guys some love. All right, back to the phones at 201-939-4513. Let's go to Dave in Cranford is up next, I think. Right, Johnny Mac? Let's go to Dave. What's up, man?
How you doing, John? How you doing, Howard, man? It's great to talk to you guys. John, glad you're feeling well.
Thanks.
Happy about that. Wondering how you were doing. So
Nah, we're all good.
Glad about that.
Thank you.
So I'm really not trying to be a homer here, or just like, hey, everyone relax. But I have to say we gotta relax. Ironically, I actually think that coming out of this game, I'd be a lot more concerned if I was Denver coming out of the game in terms of what the Giants were able to do against them. And yes, the Giants down the stretch, backup DBs, in the secondary, they got exposed. The ball, the film, the tape's going to find you when you
Now,
lose
Dave,
a
in
game
fairness,
historically like this.
Dave, I don't want to loop Dane Belton into that. I thought he actually did pretty well when he went in there for Holland. I did not think he was at fault on any of those really passes down the field, to be honest with you.
No, they were targeted one person.
John, you bring up a great point, and we might need him again on Sunday. So,
correct.
100% right. He definitely deserves. Of course, in a game like that, and I think it has everything to do with expectations and where the franchise has been at for unfortunately a long time, but particularly last year, there was just some unwatchable football last year, unfortunately, for lots of different reasons. But you go into this year, and my expectations for Jackson Dart were just to get the guy some experience and hope to see some things that you could build upon. And he has far exceeded all of that. No one wants to say this because it's like verboten. But when you think about the slight comparisons you're seeing more and more about him and Josh Allen, and obviously the Daboll connection, Josh Allen for 2 years, guys, going into his third year, not just 2 years, but going into his third year, there were big concerns about his accuracy.
Well, Dave, in fairness, Josh Allen was a lot more raw as a passer than just look at the number of passes those two players threw in college. Jackson Dart probably threw 2 or 3 times as many passes as Josh Allen did in college.
And Dart's coming from Lane Kiffin, so
in the SEC versus Wyoming. So Dave, absolutely. And look, I think I don't love the comparison just because Josh Allen, from a size perspective, is a freaking alien, and I think that just makes him very unique. And look, I'm with you. Dart still has a lot of things to work on. He's a rookie. There's a lot of things to get better at, but I think the natural quarterback instincts you've seen has to get you excited, Howard. And I think the other thing, I talked about some of the pre-snap stuff that he's done. I think that has to get you excited. And just his overall play, he just makes plays. And going into this game, I never thought, Dave, in a million years, the Giants' offense would score 32 points against that Broncos defense.
No,
I didn't think that. I didn't think it was possible unless there was like a special teams touchdown or a defense. These were real length of the field drives.
He did a good job. He did a good job identifying the fronts, being able to pick up some of the blitzes, checking into the right play a lot of the time, and giving himself some time, to find the guys down the field. Get that is all the things you want from your quarterback, and it's very impressive.
And John, I think you also brought up, and Howard as well, I think one of the most remarkable parts of the game was not just the offensive line. I mean, I think what Andrew Thomas did, somewhat expected. I mean, still impressive. But the interior of that offensive line to hold up against, that defensive front of Denver.
Zach Allen's a good player.
Yes, he is.
Zach Allen's a good player, and he was
a really good player.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to be able to hold up, I mean, I hope they keep having babies. Draft guys with pregnant wives. I don't know. It seems like it's working for them. So I would just leave you with this one last comment to get your thoughts, and then let you go. And that is, the only negative I could see coming out of this game is if Jackson Dart starts to feel to take on too much. He has got to continue to stay right with what he's doing, with his preparation, with how he's preparing, with how he's playing, and not feel the burden of a game that they should have won. I don't think there's any question about that. He played well enough for them to win. The offense played well enough for them to win. There were, you can, and could we wait to the off season to analyze our coaches? Like I'll get it. I'll go hard at them. I'll be critical of them. But could we, if we're going to go game to game by calling for people's jobs and people getting fired, I think it gets a little bit ridiculous. Let's let the games play themselves out and then have that analysis and conversation. So love to get you guys' thoughts on it. Thanks for listening,
Thanks,
guys.
Dave. Appreciate it.
First off, Jackson Dart drove the ball down the field with seconds to go and scored a touchdown. Put him in position, the pass interference, which still I'm not really sure why the ball was on the 2 and not on the goal line. But anyway, interference in end zone, and you mark it that far out, I'm not going to say anything. But he drives the ball down the field. They score a touchdown. He leaves the field with less than a minute to go.
37 seconds?
And that is what your quarterback is supposed to do.
33. The Broncos' first place from scrimmage was at 33 seconds. The touchdown was scored at 40 seconds on the clock.
So this young man played with the idea that, hey, look, we're not losing. I'm going to put it on my shoulders. I'm going to take it all the way down. And he did exactly what he was supposed to. He doesn't get to play defense too.
You want to go back to the Josh Allen comparison. It's like Josh Allen, when people say, he can't beat Patrick Mahomes in the AFC title game.
Yeah.
Well, he gave his team a lead with 18 seconds to go. It's not his fault they gave up 2 passes for a game-winning field goal.
If you do all you can do, you just leave it on the field. I'm very proud of him for that. As far as like the whole coaching thing, I think Dart is really flourishing under Daboll. And I think that they have a great connection. They have a great relationship. And I think he's only going to get better. I think they're going to win some games that, already they've had opportunity to win games that they weren't supposed to be even in. They've been close, so close. And I think
beat 2 first-place teams in the Chargers and Eagles, and they almost beat a 4-win team in Denver.
Yeah, and they're going to start converting some of these games into wins. They're every team's not going to be able to muster 30-plus points. If they keep scoring 30 points, that's going to beat some teams.
And you want to mention the development with Daboll. I want to give Mike Kafka some credit here too, Howard, because he's the offensive coordinator. And when Malik Neighbors went out, and you can speak to this being a former tight end yourself, they turned this into from a 3 wide receiver offense into a 2 tight end offense almost overnight.
You have a huge package of plays where you run 12 personnel, but this time what they've done, instead of what you said the 3 wides, they've just kind of converted it into like, okay, we're going to make one of you guys going to be the split guy. You're going to play either wing right behind the tight end and the 12 personnel, or you're going to go outside and play on the outside edge. That's going to be one of the 2 things you're going to do. And we're going to run the offense out of it. Instead of it being 3 wides, though, we're going to squeeze down and run the exact same plays with 2 tight ends right in front of them. And it's hard for defense to identify it because they're running almost the same plays, but it's a different personnel in front of them.
And I think the fun thing for me, Howard, is that Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger are pretty much interchangeable in those 2 roles. Both guys can do everything, which gives you some flexibility, which I like.
And I like the fact that they're both proficient blockers, and that is helping the run game tremendously. When you're coming off to the edge and they're running the balls to the edges, and when you got 2 tight ends out there, basically doubling the edge guys back and getting to the second level, that's a hard thing to do when you're playing defense. If you're a cornerback and you're looking at a running back running full speed with nobody in front of you to slow him down.
100%. All right, let's go to Ross all the way out in California. Ross, what's going on, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Very good.
Great. Well, I'm a longtime New York Giant fan. I go back to Fran Tarkington.
All right.
Ron Johnson, Bob Tucker. Anyway,
Ross, I have a question. Are you the same Ross that called us probably you were a pretty normal caller about 8 or 10 years ago, right? Is this the same Ross or no?
Probably not.
Okay.
I don't think so.
No, I'm pretty sure we had a Ross in California back then as well. Anyway, go ahead.
Ross is not me.
No.
Yeah, I just kind of discovered you guys, so I don't think it was me. But I have called in about the Giants. It might have been your show. But anyway, I go back to Phil Simms when they drafted him out of Morehead State, and to me, I only have seen when we played San Diego and when we played Philadelphia. So I'm pretty lucky as far as what I've been able to watch out here because they don't cover them every week. So you guys know much more about the ins and outs of play to play than I do. But I will say this: that Jackson Dart. And also, I should say, Howard, I'm a Notre Dame fan. So
Nice.
I only wish C.J. Carr was playing for your son year last year. But
I like C.J. Carr. He's going to be a good player.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun to watch. Your son, I'm talking about. He was a gamer.
I appreciate
he played
that.
through. Yeah, what he played through. I mean, everyone plays with injuries, but that kid was tough. But anyway. Yeah, so when I go back to seeing how the Giants drafted Phil Simms, it was sometime shortly after Joe Pisarcik. I don't know if you guys remember him, but he was not the greatest the Giants ever had. And so when they got this guy Simms, it was like, who is this guy? And he got the crap kicked out of him. He had no offensive line for his first, I would say, 3 years. And then all of a sudden they started drafting linemen and really good guys and really built an offensive line for him to excel. And I'm thinking that's what I'd like to see with Dart, because I saw Dart when he was at USC, and then he went to Kiffin. But when he was at USC, they were just coming off of Caleb Williams, who's Heisman guy. They wanted another Heisman, and it's like, sorry, but that doesn't come along very often. So I've seen him his whole college career, basically, and when he came to the Giants, I had such renewed energy because I knew what he could do, and I knew Kiffin was a great quarterback developer. He's very creative for offense.
Yes, he is. Definitely.
So yeah, so I'm thinking, Jackson Dart, the energy that he brought in. I don't know if San Diego was that first game he started or not, but it was instantly a different team that I saw out there than what I have been seeing for years because the Giants never understood how to draft it. Once Wellington Mara stepped down, it was like, forget it. The Suns, it's almost like the Steinbrenner syndrome. But anyway, Wellington Mara, George Young, these guys that were in management really run a tight ship and knew how to draft. And so I'm not seeing that from these guys until this last year because I love Scadaboo. He's from my alma mater. Sac State he started at and then went over to Arizona State, And so I know him a little bit. So when they drafted him, I was saying to draft him in the second round, come on, because I knew how great he was, right? And so he gets in the fourth round and they got him. I was like, okay, the Giants are back at drafting because look at what Philadelphia has done in their drafts the last 7 years or so.
Yes.
They took so many great picks. And now you're seeing the benefits of all that work of drafting.
Ross, look, there's no question. You have to draft well to be successful in the National Football League.
You have to. And certain teams get it right every year, and certain teams have a struggle. And it's also where you pick, too. You start to value guys differently.
That's true.
It's a lot.
All right, Ross, you good?
But what I'm liking is, just this last year, if they can keep up drafting and really getting some offensive linemen that are of renown coming out of college that can play behind Dart or in front of Dart, I think we're going to see a lot of good things that are going to come. They've focused on defense, and I'm a guy that always believes in defense first, but you also have to have this balance to it. Nice. And so I'm just hoping that they'll do the offensive line idea. And really, you guys are saying, and you're probably right, that our offensive line has been looking good. I want superior guys, I want to build it from the draft. Dart's young enough to to grow with them.
No,
That's
Ross,
pretty
appreciate
much
the
all
call,
I
man.
have to
No,
say.
thank you very much. Good stuff. And look, nothing helps a quarterback better than a really good offensive line. I agree with that. And Howard, look, we're going to be at a bit of a crossroads here with this offensive line group this year now. You have Andrew Thomas under contract for a long time. John Michael Schmitz will just have 1 year left on his rookie contract after this year. This is year 3 for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jermaine Illuminor's a free agent. Greg Van Roten's a free agent. And John Runyon Jr. will have 1 year left on his deal. So you're looking at 4 or 5 guys that are going to be either free agents after this year or after next year. So you drafted Marcus Bowe, who I know we both have high hopes for.
Oh, he's going to be a player.
But I would be very leery of letting a guy like Jermaine Illuminor walk out the door, who's been a very good right tackle for them.
Well, here's the thing. Jackson Dart's a rookie. So you got that rookie contract. So you're going to be able to fit some pieces in where you need to fit some pieces. You can go out and draft some guys to grow your line and your defense as well. But because he's on the rookie contract, that's going to help, develop players around him and get players around him to help him play. As I say, the others outside of the quarterback will be easier to commandeer with a rookie contract for your quarterback.
And you have to take advantage of the window, right? Because you're only
that's when you build your team. Basically, when you redo your once that quarterback is in and he's playing well, you got all your guys kind of set, and then he gets his next contract.
And you got 3 years until he hits that 5th year option. And the 5th year option is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cheap anymore at the quarterback position, but it's reasonable.
Yes.
So you have 3 or 4 more years now, and the Giants have not backloaded a lot of contracts. So it's the way Joe Shane does his contracts, it's not like they're the Eagles where they put a bunch of like these voided years on there where you got the money all pushed back in all these contracts. The Giants tend to have pretty balanced contracts like Burns, Andrew Thomas, Dexter Lawrence. Those are guys that they're getting paid decent base salaries, but it's not like they're coming up with $45 million cap hits.
That's
like you're going to have with some of these guys. And Neighbors, you got 2 more years on his rookie contract with him, and then you have the 5th year option for him. So you're looking, Howard, you're exactly right. The next 3 years, you're going to have to spend money.
You got to build your team.
Throw some signing bonuses around and spend the cash and the money now, because eventually, when you got to pay Jackson, you got to pay Neighbors. You're going to want to do another contract with Andrew Thomas eventually, as long as he stays healthy.
But you also can draft.
Burns, Dex, all that
you
stuff.
got 3 drafts.
Correct. Yes.
You got 3 drafts between now and then to determine who you can get, who you're going to replace, who's out there that's best. You might be looking and go, oh, this guy plays guard. He's like one of the best guards in the country. We can get him at this pick. Got him. Okay, now I don't have to pay so-and-so this much money because I got a guard that comes in, is going to come in and play right from the jump.
And this could be a very it's funny. This draft class, Howard, going in, everyone's like, it's going to be an awesome tackle class.
Yeah.
But now everyone thinks the tackles are going to have to move into guard.
Yeah.
Like even maybe your guy Caden Proctor, Alabama, who's massive, he might be a better guard than a tackle. So I think it might end up being a really good guard draft because everyone wants to move the tackles into guard.
Yeah, there's going to be some guys out there that are going to come in. They're going to be long-time starters, and they'll be on rookie contract. So you got a big opportunity to build your team really quickly to have some success for not just 1 or 2 years, but like 6 or 7 years, because you got everybody, the salary cap managed just properly.
And look, that's why you have to draft well.
That's right.
Having good players on rookie contracts, there are a few things more important to putting together a really good NFL team than that. Just look at the Detroit Lions.
The younger your team is, the younger your team is, the better you are because the contracts are lighter.
Howard, you could not be more correct about that. All right, let's go to James in Philly. He's up next. James, we're going to be in your neck of the woods in about 6 days. Howard's excited. He loves hanging out in the parking lot with the Eagles fans before the game.
No, I don't.
I was going to say you have to be crazy.
Well, he is, but he still doesn't do that.
Obnoxious fans you ever want to run across.
What do you got today, James?
I've been a Giants fan since they had LT, so I go through a whole lot of crap here in Philadelphia. I was on the top of the world last week, and now I got to hear a bunch of crap this week. But my thing is, I wanted to talk about the defensive backs. It's like, I don't know. It seems as though we got the two picks. I mean, the two pickups with Holland and Adebo, but it just seems like they're not on the same page most of the time. To me, anyway. And like the way they it just seems like during the game is just too many, especially when the teams run that cross. Run across the field, it's like somebody's always chasing and getting them big third downs and whatnot. And then
like the Dallas game and the game we just had. You got 31 seconds. No way you let no guy catch no deep in route right there. Now the way the defense was explained by a linebacker, saying they had the two little rovers back there, but how did they not come up? And when they see that guy hit the middle, okay, you protecting the outside because you don't want him to get outside and get out of bounds. But like 2 weeks, not 2 weeks in a row, but the Dallas game, the same thing. It's like it's seeming like to me that our defensive backs is not on the same page. And I kind of feel like when we had Jerome Henderson, our D-backs, although they weren't as talented as the D-backs we have now, they always seem to be in sync.
Well, James, what I would say to you about those two plays, while they looked similar at the end of the Dallas game, at the end of this game, the coverages that were called were very different. To your point, and Tiki and I talked about this on the postgame show, it was a man-to-man call with two what they're called robber safeties in the middle of the field, which basically is how those safeties are reading the quarterback, trying to get in the passing lane, right?
Absolutely.
And it looks like to me, when I went back and I watched it, and I'd love to get Howard's take. I haven't talked to you about this yet. Newbin is on the offensive left side of the field, if you're the offense, and he's very concerned with Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton's one-on-one with Deonte Banks, and he runs a little in route. It's almost like a little skinny post type of thing underneath Mims. So what Newbin's doing on that side of the field, he ducks in underneath that route to prevent that throw from getting in there, which means Phillips ends up being one-on-one with Mims. And it's odd, Howard. I'm not sure how much you've looked at this again, but he's running with him, but he's not attached to him. Phillips is kind of jogging next to Mims, but he's not. He's like giving him like 2 or 3 yards, like side to side cushion, which is odd, which is why that pass is allowed to kind of get in there.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about. Like they don't be sticky to the receivers in that situation. And I understand. Okay, you want to just rush. I think they rushed 3 on that play or whatever, 3 guys on that play. 3. I mean, like even let your linebackers get back into that throwing lane because it was like a straight dart bomb. It was like, a straight pass. It wasn't like it was a looping pass. So if a linebacker is in the line of sight of that pass, you could knock it down. It didn't like he threw it up over anyone. He just threw it straight down the middle.
Go ahead, Howard.
I think
you either get a little more stickier or you put more pressure on the quarterback, one of the two.
I think Phillips would have gotten a defensive holding call just before that, just right around that time.
He had gotten a pass interference on a 4th and 3, two possessions earlier.
So
that's
basically, he's trying to give him room because he doesn't want to be the guy that gives them a first down right there.
And stops the clock.
And stops the clock. That's
I understand
totally
that
understand.
part. You can't play scared in that situation. You got to be up on there. Like you can't be like, I don't want to get
totally
another
agree.
penalty.
Hey, I totally agree with you, but
you got to go play.
Yeah.
And let what happen. But once you touch the ball and you catch the ball, and now they running up. Unlike our kicker, their kickers can make field goals. They run down there like that.
Thank you, James. Appreciate the call, man. Yeah. Your take on that play that we were just talking about.
Yeah, I just think that he got himself in a situation where he was like running behind him and trying not to grab him to get the call. When he was trying to be close to him, but he was too far away from him. To get to play, and once these guys cross inside and hits a dip under to get back in phase, now he's running extra hard, not just to get in phase, but just to get close enough to him to cover him. And I don't think people realize how hard that is. When they run these crossing routes up, when the play comes off and the receivers cross, they're trying to rub the defenders off of each other.
Sure.
And they're basically rubbing them early. He dipped under perfectly. But now he's got to run to get himself back in phase with the receiver to make sure he can defend the play, and he just wasn't there when the ball came out.
All right, let's go to Jonathan in Westchester. He's up next. Jonathan, what's going on?
Hey, how are you guys?
We're good.
So, I think like everybody, I was frustrated by the outcome of the game on Sunday. But, after letting a little bit of time pass and taking a look at the big picture, I can't help but feel happy about Dart and offensive production. If you had told me before the season that Dart's first start would come against the Chargers, so arguably within the toughest stretch of a tough schedule, and that Dart would be 2-2 in his first 4 starts with 34 points against Philly and 32 points at Denver, I would have signed up for that in a heartbeat.
Agreed.
Yes.
And then, you compare it to the last 2 years. This is a giant, facts are the facts. We've averaged about 16 points per game, which was 30th in the league in 2023 and then 31st in the league in 2024. So, Dart's averaging close to 10 points per game above that. I know it's a small sample size. You're talking about 4 games, but still, and he's doing it with no kicker. We've missed 3 extra points in the last 2 games, and on top of that, we've been in field goal position a number of times and haven't attempted the field goal. So the points per game would be higher, on top of that. And no Malik Neighbors. So, kind of have to take a step back and be excited about the direction that at least the offense is heading in. Wanted to get your thoughts.
I'm definitely excited about the direction the offense is heading in. They're scoring 30 points a game is something that we didn't see for a while. I think we scored 30 points maybe once over the last 2 years, maybe twice.
Seems that way,
yeah. And it just didn't look the same. And it looked stuck. It looked like we were trying so hard and things weren't happening. And now it looks, you see a 3rd and 5, it's like, okay, we're going to get this 3rd and 5. We're in a manageable 3rd down position. 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 9s in this last game were even manageable. So the offense doesn't look stuck. The offensive line looks better. And I've been telling people for years, when the offensive line starts to play better, everybody else is going to look better. And they're like, oh, well, So, no, you don't know. I said, if the offensive line plays better, everybody looks better. The quarterback looks better. The run game looks better. The receivers look better. Even the defense looks better because when the offensive line plays better, they keep the offense on the field longer, they score more points, and the defense gets a rest. So, yes, the offensive line playing well has really elevated this team. Dart's doing a great job. Scadaboo's awesome, but the offensive line has really, really come a long way, and they've done a great job. And again, I'm saying that now, they have a stretch of really tough teams to play. The Eagles will be at full man. They will be fully loaded when we see them this coming week.
It's funny. They talk. We've been through the toughest stretch, and I was joking about this. I forget who I was talking to. It just shows you how, and we say this at the time. You talk about how tough the schedule is going to be. Well, you got the Chargers without both their starting offensive tackles.
That's right.
You got the Eagles without Jalen Carter and Quinion Mitchell for most of that game, right? And Philly just wasn't playing well at that point either, to be totally honest with you.
That's good for me.
No, absolutely. So you talk about how tough that stretch is going to be. Well, maybe it turns out that the toughest stretch is the one that's coming. When you're at Philly, the Niners, who have been playing really well despite all their injuries, and Brock Purdy's probably going to be back by then, I would think. Then you have the Bears, who have played well, the Packers, who are really good, and then the Lions, who are awesome. So it doesn't get any easier anytime soon.
The Packers are in first place, basically.
And the Lions, it might be the best team in the National Football League right now.
Absolutely. So, yeah, it's going to be a stretch.
And then, by the way, everyone thought at the start of the year, at least you get the Patriot game. That's going to be a bit of a break. That first week of December, right?
That's going to be.
Patriots are tied for first.
Patriots are playing very well. That quarterback Drake May has done a great job. The coach, he's really knows how to get his team together, get them going, and they're really looking good. And the defense is playing well too.
In fact, I believe I got to check what's the Bears' record. Are they at 500? Or are they 3-3? Johnny Mac, check that for me. I think they're 3-3.
They could be 3-3.
I think the next 6 teams. I think all 6 teams are at least 500, if not better.
Yeah, we got a good schedule.
Yeah.
We got a good schedule.
Well, good is an interesting way to put it. I'm not sure I'd use that word necessarily, but yes, it is. It is certainly challenging. I will say that for sure. 201-939-4513. Want to remind everybody the Giants Foundation will host a 5K race and kids run presented by Quest this Sunday, October 26th at 9 a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants will receive a commemorative T-shirt, and after the race, stay for a post-race festival with appearances by Giants legends and a live DJ. Register now at Giants.com/5K. The Giants Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. I know Tiki's going to be there, so you get a chance to hang out with Tiki.
There you go.
At the 5K. And you do, and by the way, I did confirm this after I said it on yesterday's show and said I'm pretty sure this is true, and it turned out to be true, so I was right. You do get to finish the race in the end zone at Giants Stadium. Or at MetLife Stadium.
MetLife Stadium.
So you run around and you finish the race. I guess you run up the tunnel or whatever it is, and you run into the stadium, and the finish line is in the end zone. So you get a chance to be on the field at MetLife Stadium, which is pretty cool.
I'm still trying to figure out how you're going to run into the stadium.
I was thinking about that too. It's not like there's a tunnel like the old stadium that goes straight in.
I know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to run through where the buses come in and let the teams in.
You know what? You have the ramp up, and then that goes right onto the field, right?
Field.
Yeah.
That's going to be it. That's how they're going to do it.
I think you're probably right.
Because you can't run around the inside the stadium.
Yeah, because if you go in by MetLife Central where they have the 50-yard line, there's no clear path.
No, they're going to run in. They're going to run right up there and go right. That's the only way to do it. Or else have to run through a door and then come in.
So, folks, not only do you get to run on the field, you get to see the loading dock.
Yeah, well,
very exciting.
And you run right by the locker room.
Yeah, you're right. It actually is right over there. You're right about that.
The Giants' locker rooms.
So, and Bears are 4-2, by the way. Thank you, Johnny Mac. So, the next 6 opponents, all of them, at least 4-2 or better. All good teams. All could be playoff teams. So, it does not get any easier.
So, the Giants are playing spoiler for the next 6 games. We're trying to spoil everybody's part.
They're going to be underdogs in those games. So,
I think we're underdogs for the rest of the year.
They have the Raiders on the schedule.
Oh, thank God.
And we will see where the Vikings and the Cowboys are too when you get to those final couple games of the year, and we'll see where that's at. But and where the Commanders are, frankly, they have not played particularly well.
They really didn't do little Daniels any favors by they thought he was just going to have the same season year in and year out. You got to get him some protection. You got to give him some weapons.
They tried. They got Laramie Tunsil in there for the left tackle.
Yeah, but he's still getting sacked a lot.
Well, and it's funny. The thing we were worried about with him coming out, right, is he was so slender and he's a smaller guy, not in terms of height, but just in terms of stature, in terms of being broad and thickness. And we're seeing some of those injuries now pop up this year a little
because
bit.
're hitting him in the legs.
No, you're right.
If you get hit in the legs, you need all your pads on. I see these guys out there in games. I'm like, man, where are your pads, bro?
I haven't. He wears punter pads. It's crazy, right? No, I'm with you. I haven't rewatched that Dallas Commander game. I was going to do that either today or tomorrow. And I did see the replay of his injury though. He got twisted up. Yeah. I thought it was going to be a knee injury. When they said it was a hamstring, I was actually a little surprised.
Yeah, again, there's so many guys hitting him. Laramie Tunsil's great. Jeremy Tunsil's great, but you get more guys out there for him. He's not just going to be able to do it.
Let's go to Scott in New Mexico. He's going to wrap us up today. Scotty Doo.
Hey, John and Howard. I don't usually get on as much as I used to. I'm dealing with some medical issues, so John, I'm glad you're okay.
I'm sorry to hear that, Scott. Hope you're feeling better. And yes, thankfully, I am doing very well.
Okay. I tend to, I guess I'm from the Bill Parcells school. Your record is what you are. And I just wanted to review something with you. It's not that I have a personal affront against Brian Daboll, but here's his record since he joined the Giants. The club itself is 20-37-1 and 11-30 in the past 41 games. 5-19 in the past 24 games, and have dropped 7 straight road games, including 2 where they had the lead with less than a minute left. That's the reality. And I think in the game against Denver, the Giants on 2 possession plays had less than 7 yards. You're not going to win football games at all with that kind of record and with the way the games are turning out. And though I like Brian Daboll as a person, my question really is he the right coach based on the record I'm looking at? Now, when I watch the games, I'm like you guys. I think, for example, Howard, your idea of the 2 tight end set really worked. I think they complement each other. I like that set. I like the replacement for Schmidt. I thought he played very well.
Yeah, Schloman did a nice job.
I think the offensive line is good. Secondary is questionable. But the real key for me, unlike Detroit, which lost all 4 of its corners and safeties, didn't start the season, and you see how good they are. But the real key to me is you have to lay the blame at the coach's feet, and we keep skirting the issue. I just read you what the record is. And you can't look away and say, hey, each individual game is going to have its own nuances.
Of course.
I think Jackson Dart is going to be great. I think he's a good quarterback. He's going to learn. I think Scatterbill was a great pickup. But all that being put aside, you can't escape from what the record is.
No, look, Scott, and Scott, you're right. No one is making believe that the record the last 2.5 years has been good. It hasn't been. We know that.
Right.
And ultimately, you're judged on wins or losses. But I'll let Howard kind of attack the larger crux of your question.
I think what you have to think about this is that when they came in, they were trying to field a team. And they've been constantly trying to get all their guys in. And one thing that a coach that usually happens is a coach usually has his quarterback. So up until now, he's been playing with what cards he was dealt.
Now, in fairness, Dable and Joe Shane did choose to re-sign Daniel Jones. That was their decision.
They totally did.
Yeah.
But again,
and we all know what
dealt.
Daniel Jones is doing now in Indianapolis.
With an offensive line, yes. Mm-hmm.
And good wide
Correct.
receivers.
And it's always the same case. If you don't have an offensive line, it doesn't really matter.
Scott, it's almost like, hold on a second, it's almost like what's going on around the quarterback matters. And by the way, what's going on around a running back matters too. If you look what Saquon's doing in Philadelphia this year, because it's the same player, same organization. All of a sudden, you lose some offensive linemen, and the running back looks a lot different.
Yep.
I agree, but you can't get around the issue that there's one person who controls the plays. I know Mike Kafka, I think, is a very good play caller, but ultimately the responsibility is Brian Dable's. He has the ability to change plays. He has the ability to say what he wants, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to end this on a play that happened in his second year with Brian Dable and Daniel Jones. I think the score against Dallas was 40-0. And I may be wrong, but I think it was. And in any event, he left Daniel Jones in the game in the fourth quarter with virtually no time left. In his press conference, he said, he was asked the question, why did I leave my starting quarterback in the game? And he said, well, I wanted to see if I could start something or we could initiate something, which to me was imbecilic because each game, as you know, is different. Even if the Giants would have scored, it wouldn't have made any difference for the following week. So I sort of soured on Brian Dable right then because I didn't think that was a wise coaching decision. But the record bears it out. So I'm not trying to I apologize if it seems like I'm trying to say Brian Dable is the key to all this mess, but he is the head coach. And it's about time we stop thinking about individual players and what they do because, as you know, the buck stops with the head coach. And that's really the only point I was really trying to make. And I don't think that making a change in coaching, whether it be Kafka or it be Shane Bowen, is unnecessarily a bad idea.
Thank you, Scott.
That's just my thinking, and so that's why I want to just vent that.
No, and Scott, that's why we're here. We appreciate you calling your opinion. Final thoughts, Howard.
Final thoughts. Coaching is
you can respond to that too if you like.
Yeah, coaching is coaching. I do understand what he's saying. I think that at this year, especially with this schedule, there was not a lot of expectations. I think the beating two of the tougher teams and playing some other teams right down to the wire, I guess you would say there's no moral victories, but there are going to be some wins in this season. There are going to be a lot more wins than were expected. I think we were scheduled to have one, maybe two wins, and it wasn't against these two teams. So I think that you're going to see more and more guys make plays. I think they're going to score. If they continue to score with 30 points a game, other teams just not going to be able to do that. I don't care how, who's playing in the secondary, who's doing whatever. You're going to see more sacks by Burns. You're going to see more sacks by Thibodeau. I think Dexter is getting closer and closer to being Dexter again because he didn't go through all training camp, and he's just playing himself back into shape. And everybody goes like, how long does it take to play back in shape? At that size, it takes some time, and Denver's not the place to play yourself back into shape. But
or is it? I mean, you really get your lungs a nice workout at that high altitude, dude.
I'm like, dude, that's not the place you want to be. So, but as for everything else, I think they're headed in the right direction. I know fans don't like hearing that, but I think they're headed in the right direction and make some huge strides so far.
Hey, look, and Howard, the bottom, and I'll close with this: the past is the past. The record's the record. We know what it is. Ultimately, whatever decision is made, the decision is going to be based on what's best for the organization moving forward. What gives the team the best chance to succeed in the future, and that's what the best decision is going to be.
And I will say this: Jackson Dart said it best. He goes, "We are here. We're winners. We're going to try to win as many games as possible. We're not here for the sins of the past. We're here for what's going on now, going forward." So with Dart and Scadaboo and Burns and all these guys that are really ready to go now, look at these guys for what they are. They're scrappy, they're fighting, and like I said, they're just a play here, a play there away from being there. They've cleaned it up. There's not as many penalties. One more play here or there, they got to pull it. They're going to pull it off, and that's what they're talking about right now in the locker rooms. They're trying to figure out a way to get. Hey, we need one more step. Can you take one more step and get your hand up?
No question.
And
Howard,
that's what it is.
This was fun, man. I appreciate it, brother. I mentioned the Giants Huddle podcast. Also, draft season is back live this week. We had a recorded one on last week, which was great with Dave Syvertson talking about ranking the position groups in the draft this week. Coming up tomorrow, or is it later on today, actually. Pearson should be cutting it right now. Mike Renner from CBS Sports joins Tony Pauline and I talking NFL draft, so make sure you check that out. He has his top 50 list out, and we had a chance to talk to him about that and to talk about his most recent mock draft. It's October, Howard. The mock drafts are coming, buddy. Luckily, the Giants are not really right now concerned about
Roll Tide,
Tankathon.com or anything like that. Just trying to win some football games here.
Just Roll Tide,
and we'll see how by the way,
rolling.
I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
One, Jeremiah Love. What do you think about him as a running back prospect?
Notre Dame's running back. Jeremiah Love is probably the top running back in the country. Didn't get as much.
Agreed.
Is not getting as much love as a kid from last year that played out of Boise. That went to the Raiders.
Yeah,
Gentry. But I think Jeremiah Love has speed. He can cut. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a big kid. He's not like some little guy. Or he's long. So he once he gets out, he has home run speed. So those are the things that make him kind of scary as a running back.
Monster game versus USC over the weekend too. All right, and then give me your best Alabama prospects. Who are you excited about seeing coming out?
I think it's gonna be interesting to see if Ty Simpson comes out. I think it's close to his last year.
Well,
yeah, and he is like.
I think more experience for the quarterback's always better, though, right?
It's more experience is better, but if Alabama winds up somehow, some way getting into the playoffs and they get close to winning the national championship, there'll be a lot of scuttlebutt about him being the Heisman favorite.
Well, I'm sure Alabama will also make sure they take care of him if he decides to come
well,
back to
school. It's like
sometimes you make more going back to school than you do in the draft.
That's true, but I will say this about all of that. I think that the SEC the gap has shrunk very much now that everybody's getting paid.
No, you're right about that. I agree.
So it's like there's some big schools, some big donors, some places out there. Like to me, Arkansas should be the number one team in the nation. Walmart, Tyson Foods, and all that stuff. But there are other schools with other, Oregon's got Nike. It's just I have no idea.
I mean, Texas is all the oil money.
Yeah, it's just Texas Tech. Yeah, they spent. They did.
How about Texas A&M?
Yeah,
all the money they spend too.
Absolutely.
No, you're right. See it. How about you like Caden Proctor?
He's all right. I think he's got to get more into the season. I think he's had some really good games, but he had a couple,
Yeah, that's no. He did. You're on it. You're absolutely right. He did.
Yeah, so I watch a lot of college football, so yeah, I spend my Saturdays like in front of the TV or some bar somewhere. We've got games everywhere. They're like, could you put this game over? They're like, who do you know in that team? I just want to see who's going to win. I'm like, because I'm very invested in going to the playoffs and Bama being there. So you watch all these other teams to see.
Nice win versus Tennessee, by the way. That was a heck of an interception at the end of the second quarter.
Great game.
Unbelievable game. How about Jan Miller, the running back? He's come back. He was a little banged up.
That's the issue with running backs. When you're banged up a little bit early on, can you last throughout the season? Do they have enough guys around you at running back that you can continue to run? And can a coach figure out a way like, do you want to win, coach, or do you want this kid to advance his career? And that's kind of you do want both, but that's kind of where you are when you got a kid that's so valuable at running back that you're like, can you go today? Like that, you should never ask a kid that.
It looks like Kalen DeBoer has at least lowered the temperature a little bit on the cushion that he's been sitting on in his office.
Oh, it's totally lowered the temperature on the cushion he's sitting on. But I also think that he is like he's kind of getting over the Saban hangover now.
Yeah.
Like he had the Saban hangover the first year.
He's also building the team in his image, right? This is kind of what he wants it to be.
Well, he can't be. When you got one guy that's like screaming and yelling and going crazy, and you got a guy that looks like he's very calm. It takes a little bit for the fans, the team, and everybody and the press to get used to seeing that on the sideline.
Yeah, a little bit different. Howard, always a pleasure, man. Okay. Johnny Mac needs to eat some lunch. So do I. So let's wrap things up here on Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. Coming to you from our podcast studio, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. For Howard Cross, I'm John Schmeelk. And by the way, you can find draft season on all your favorite podcast platforms, Giants YouTube channel, Giants app, and Giants.com/podcast. We'll see you tomorrow, O'Hara and Burke at 12:30 for Wednesday's Big Blue Kickoff Live as we turn the page to Philadelphia.